Math Academy. Welcome. My name is Mr. Arnold. I'm a lecturer here at Math Academy. So today we are going to learn about CSS. CSS in full is called cascading style sheet. It's usually used to style HTML elements. For example, you have a heading one called BD School or Math Academy. You want to change it from color black to blue. That's the work for CSS. If you have an image, you want to increase the size of the image or to reduce it. That's the work of CSS. So today we are going to learn about CSS. So I'm going to start from scratch by creating a folder. So the folder, you can give it any name you like. For example, I can give it the name called Arnold, like that. Then we're going to use VS Code for our coding. So I can just head over here, click open file, open folder, sorry. Come here to file menu, then open folder. Then you select the folder that you have created. In my case, I created a folder called Arnold. Here it is, so I'll select it and click on select folder. Yeah. So I've already told you CSS is used to style HTML elements. Okay? So we are going to start by creating our HTML file. And that HTML file, I can give it the name index. You can give it any name you like. For example, mine, I'll name it index, but in your case, you can name it about, contact, contact.html, about.html, services.html, and all that. Mine, I'll give it index.html. And now I'm going to generate a boilerplate. To generate a boilerplate, you can just click on exclamation mark, then you hit enter, like that. Now, inside my body tag, in between the opening and closing tag, here at around line number 9, I'll head over and click here heading 1 to create a H1 element. And inside my H1 element, I'm going to name it welcome. Welcome to Math Academy. Like that. Now I'm going to open it with live server so that I can preview it in my browser. So here it is. Welcome to Math Academy. Now, welcome to Math Academy is in black in color. I want to change it to be blue in color. So that's the work of CSS. And CSS, we can insert CSS in 3 ways. There's the inline CSS, there's the external CSS, and there's internal CSS. So I'm going to teach you all the 3 ways. So let's start with inline CSS. Inline CSS, you insert it inside the opening tag, the element, inside the opening tag of the element. For example, my element here is H1. So inside the opening tag, right after between 1 and the greater than symbol, I'm going to insert my inline CSS. And I'm going to write here something called style, so that I'm telling the browser whatever it's here is for CSS, for styling. So I'm going to give it the style attribute, but then this is called an attribute. Anything inside an opening tag is called an attribute. An attribute is like an adverb. Think of this like heading 1, it's a verb, then an attribute is an adverb. So in the English term, an adverb explains more about a verb. So in this case, an attribute explains more about a element. So our element is heading 1 and our attribute is style. So inside the quotations, I'm going to insert a property. A property is like what do you want to change about that element. So I want to change the color of the text. So to change the color of the text, I'm going to use an attribute, and property called color. There it is, color. Then, what color do I want to change into? I want to change it to blue in color. So I'm just going to write here, blue. So here is my property, which is color. Then here is my value, which is blue. So let's see. If I head over to my browser, you can see it's changing. Okay? Yeah. I hope you're okay then. If you have any questions, you can just head over to the comment section. I'll reply with you shortly. Okay, now let's create another element called heading 2. Let's say good morning. another element, a heading 2 element called good morning. Now keep in mind, for the H1 we were creating inline CSS. So let me just write here a comment, inline CSS. So this is for inline CSS. Now for this other element, the heading 2 element, we want to style it using internal CSS. Internal CSS. Now internal CSS, you will head over here between the head tags, between this one, opening tag and closing tag here. Inside here, doesn't matter where, as long as it's inside. Now here we're going to create another attribute, another property, another tag called style. And style usually comes in form of a tag. Then in between the style, we are going now to write our CSS, but this one is a bit different, so keep in mind. And I've already told you, if you have any questions, head over to the comment section and I'll reply to your concerns. Now inside our CSS here, we are going to insert another, there's a structure that we're going to use. And the structure is called this one. We're going to use this selector. Then there's a curly brackets. Then inside here, we're going to use a property. Then we're going to insert a value. Like that. So this is the structure that we're going to use. The selector, then we have a curly brackets here, property, and value. In inline CSS, I've already told you what a property is. A property is what you want to change about that tag. Okay? But we're going to repeat it here. So selector is usually the HTML element that you want to change. For example, if my element is heading 2, so heading 2 will be my selector. If the element is heading 1 will be my selector. If the element is an image, img will be my selector. So that's a selector. Selector is the HTML tag that you want to target. Now property is what you want to change about that element, or that selector. What do you want to change about it? Do you want to change it to be, let's say the selector is heading 1. Do you want to increase the font? Do you want to change the color? Do you want to add a background color and all that? So that's the property. Then value is what do you want to change the color to be? For example, if our property is color, you want to change the color of the text. What do you want to change that into? You want to change it into blue, black, purple, yellow. So that's called value. Okay, let's do the practical exercise now. So the element that I want to target is this heading 2, which has good morning message. So my selector will be heading 1. And keep in mind, we are not using the symbols, the greater than symbols and the less than symbol. We're just going to write the tag H1 without any symbols. So H1 will be my selector, then add the curly brackets. Now the property, what do you want to change about that? Oh, sorry. My element is heading 2. Yeah, heading 2. Heading 2 is my selector. So what do you want to change about that heading 2? I want to change the color. So my property is color. What do you want the color to be? I want the color to be, let's say, green in color. So my value will be green, like that. Now let's head over to our browser. Now you can see it's working. Good morning, it's in green in color. So that's called internal CSS. Okay, now let's move on. Now I want to start external CSS. I'll create here another tag, call it heading 3, or let's say paragraph. I can generate here a dummy text, lorem. So here it is. I want to change the color of this text, this paragraph, to be yellow, or let's say purple in color, using external CSS. So external CSS, you need to create another file, a file dedicated to CSS code only. So here on my left side panel, I'll create here another file, and you can give it any name you like. For example, mine, I'll give it the name style, but the extension should be css.css. the extension is important. Name doesn't matter. So, like I said, you head over here, click on this file menu, then create a new file. You can give it any name you like. For example, mine, I'll give it style.css. The extension is the one which is important here. Then, because this is another file, we need to create a link that's going to connect our HTML file with our CSS file. So head over to your HTML file, and the link you're going to insert it here between the head tag. This one. So for example, I can head over right below the CSS and type the word link. You can either choose this one, the first one, or this one for CSS. Both of them will take you to the same place. So if I click on the first one, here under href, and I've told you anything inside the opening tag is called an attribute. So this link has two attributes, the rel and the href. So here under the href, you're going to type the name of your CSS file. Like mine is called style.css. So here I'm going to type the word style.css, like that. Yes. Now we can head over to our CSS file and write our CSS code. And by the way, the CSS code, the structure is the same as our internal CSS. You are going to use this structure: selector, property, and value. So which is going to be our selector? Our selector is called p tag. So I'll head over to my CSS, type the word p, open the curly brackets. Now my property, I want to change the color of my paragraph. The original color is black. I want to change the color into purple. So I'll come here, add a property called color. Then the value is going to be purple. Purple. Now let's see. Now you can see the color is purple. Okay? I don't know if you can see. Okay, I can try by increasing the size. You can also learn another property here. To increase the size of my paragraph, by default, the paragraph, we are going to measure it in 16 pixels. But don't worry, I'm going to explain this in another section. But for now, the default size of this paragraph is 16 pixels. So if I want to increase the size, I'm going to add a value above 16 pixels. So I can choose maybe 32, 24, 20, as long as it's above. So here, right after this semicolon here, I'm going to press enter, add another property called font size. And I'm going to increase it to be, let's say, 24 px. Don't worry, I'm going to explain this in another section. Okay. So here it is. You can see it's increasing the size. So the color is purple. Maybe some of you won't believe me that this is color purple. You can change it to be another color, like let's say color yellow. Little is bright. So I can change the color from purple to yellow. You can see. You can also change the color to be red. Maybe yellow is too bright, or maybe it's not visible. You can change it to red, like that. Yeah, nice. So if you have any question, just head over to the comment section and I'll get back right to you. So we have learned 3 ways of inserting CSS. We have learned about inline CSS. We have learned about internal CSS, which is here. This one is internal CSS. Then we have learned about external CSS, where we create another file, then we link with our HTML file using the link. Now, maybe you can have, you may ask, so which one do we use? Can you use all at the same time? So the most CSS that we're going to use is external CSS. External one, this one here, where we create another separate file and we write our CSS code. That's the most commonly used. So we're going to use our external CSS. So I can just head over here. I can delete this one. We're going to use our external CSS here. So I hope everyone is okay there. If you have any questions, kindly head over to the comment section and we'll get back right and we'll answer it. Okay, now there's something called comments in CSS, and if you are careful, we did a comment here. This is called a comment. A comment won't be rendered by the browser. Okay, so like for example, in my body tag there's a text called external CSS, but in my browser there's nothing called external CSS. There's no text written external CSS because I've commented it out. You can only see it on VS Code but not on the browser. So CSS has its own comments. Like here in our HTML, the comment, you start with the less than symbol, exclamation mark, then 2 dashes, then the closing tag is 2 dashes, then the greater than symbol. For CSS, it's a bit different. For CSS, you start with the slash, then the star. The star. It's called asterisk. That one. So that's the opening tag. Now you can type anything, and it won't be rendered on the browser. If you want to insert a closing comment, you do the opposite. You start with the asterisk symbol, then you start with the /. I hope everyone's okay there. Yeah. Okay. So we have learned about colors, and we want to move a step forward. There are 3 ways of inserting colors. There's the first way of inserting color using inline, not inline, sorry. color names. Color names, the one which has color, which has names. Color names. For example, red, green, blue, black, the colors which have names. There's another way that you can insert colors using hexadecimal. Now hexa means 6, so it means that color should have 6 values. For example, an example of a hexadecimal value is this one, and hexadecimal value start with a hash. Then there should be 6 values here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So the first 2 digits is usually for red. The second 2 digits, the second part, is for green. Then the last 2 digits is for blue, RGB, for example. Yeah. Let's say here I have a heading 1. Good morning. I have here heading 1. I want to change this color to be red using hexadecimal. So what I'm going to do, I'll head over to my CSS file. My selector will be the heading 1. Open the curly brackets. Then my property is color, because I want to change the color from black to red, but using hexadecimal. So the first rule, you have to start with the hash, the way we did it here. Then I told you that the first part of the 2 digits is usually for red. And hexadecimal, by the way, values usually range from 0 to 9 if it's in number format. Then for alphabetic format, you start from A to F. For example, it can be A, B, C, D, E, F. Numbers can range from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you move towards your left side, color diminishes in Asia. If you move towards your right side, the color increases its value. So I want red, and the first 2 values is for red in color. So it means I will head over here and insert the highest value, which is F. So here, the first values, I'll add FF. Then the second value will be 0, 0, because I don't want any green, I don't want any blue. So it will be red in color. So if I come here, you can see it's changing red. Now, let's say I want to change the color to be blue. So I want the color to be blue. So the first 2 values, it will be 0 because it's for red. The second 2 values will be green, and I want it to be blue. So for green I'll be 0. Then the last two values will be blue, so I'll give it the highest value, which is FF. You can see it's changing now. So if I want the green is this part, so it will be FF, then the last one will be 0, 0. So you can see it's changing. So that's called hexadecimal values. It usually start with 6 digits, and the value, you should start it with a hash symbol. Now, so that's the hex. But then you can mix the two values. Maybe I want to mix red and green. Red and green, so it means the red part should be FF and the green part should be FF. So if you mix red and green, it will give you the color yellow. Yellow. What if I mix red and blue? So red will be FF, green will be 0, 0, blue will be FF. So if I mix red and blue, it will give me pink. Is it pink or purple? So you can head over to the comment section and tell me if you think this is pink or purple. So that's hexadecimal. Now there's the last term which you can use. It's called RGB. RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So let me show you by an example. I'll have here a heading 2. Can say welcome to Math Academy. Here it is. I want to change this color to be blue using RGB. So what I'm going to do, I'll head over to my CSS. So my element is heading 2. So that will be my selector. Heading 2, curly brackets. The property is color. Then the value for RGB, you have to start with the word RGB. Then you hit enter. So you can see here the first value is 0, is red, the second value is for green, the third value is for blue. Now, RGB values usually range from 0 to 255. From 0, 1, 2, 100, 200 to 255. So 255 is the highest concentration of the color, 0 is there is no concentration. So I want the color to be blue, so it means red will be 0, green will also be 0, blue now will be 255 because I want blue, the highest concentration of blue, 255. You can see now it's blue. But now we can reduce, maybe I don't want that bright blue color. I can reduce the concentration to be, let's say, 150. 150. Now you can see it's a bit dull, dark bluish. Yeah. So if you reduce the concentration, it won't be that bright. Yeah. So that's about colors. And there's a tip here. Maybe you want to experiment with colors. You are not sure about which color you want. If you hover around this square here with the color, there's this pop-up that will appear. I want this pink, but I don't want that bright pink. So I can head over here and drag it a bit down. So you can see here, this is what's going to guide you. You can see it's dark pink. So if I head over here, you can see it's dark pink. Maybe I want to change it into another color. I don't want a pink color. Maybe I have changed my mind. I want it to be another color. So here, there's a lever here. You can drag to switch between colors that you want. Maybe I want green, but I want a bit in the middle there, like here. You can see it's changing. Yeah, that's just a quick tip that you can use. And that's all about colors. If you have any questions, head over to the comment section and I'll answer it. Okay. Now in the next section, we are going to learn about background colors. Okay? So I'll see you in the next section.